Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Patipra, and today I'm going to be sharing my initial thoughts and impressions about Diablo 4's beta. So let's get into the video. So I was able to play this game on both the occasions, that is from 17th of March to 19th of March, which was the early access of the game, and the 24th of March to 26th of March, which was actually the open beta for everyone to play. So in both occasions, the main problem which I encountered in this game was performance issues. Right. So even though I don't have the best graphics card to withstand the game's performance, even though when I tried to load this game at a lower end graphics, I was still having performance issues and the graphics card started heating up a lot. So this was one of the problems I encountered. The next issue which I had was when I was entering a town through a town portal or when I was going in and out of a dungeon. So due to this load times, there was some severe lag spikes as soon as I was loaded into a dungeon or outside of a dungeon or whenever wanted to leave the town. So again, this is more concerned with the performance issues of the game. So I really hope they fix this thing before they finally release the game in June. Next thing I want to talk about is the classes. As you guys might know, there are actually five different classes in Diablo, and all five are actually quite different from each other. So I was able to play all of these classes. More or less, I leveled all of these classes from 1 to 25, and I tried a variety of builds. So in most of the builds I tried, the one thing which was common was not all the builds were balanced. For example, I felt like some classes were way too overpowered compared to other classes. This is mostly because of one or two skills, but still, I felt like some classes were actually way worse compared to other classes. In my opinion, Barbarian and Druid were actually really bad at the start. It is very hard to get going through the early game with a Barbarian or a Druid because they do not have really good skills, nor do they have the required legendary equipment. For example, in Barbarian, you need to have certain legendary equipments in order to enhance your skills which you are using. So without these legendary equipment, your Barbarian is not going to be that strong. So therefore, you need to farm more for the legendaries. So which is going to take a lot more time and a lot more luck. So therefore, I don't think the build should be based more upon your legendaries. I think it should be based more upon your skills. So until you get these certain legendaries, your build will lack in skills. Hence, you will be having a tough time going through as a barbarian or a druid compared to say a wizard or a necromancer. For example, in sorcerer, when I used the chain lightning skill, that skill was way too overpowered compared to skills like, let's say, your frozen orb or your fireball. Granted, other skills may be fun to use, but in comparison with the lightning skills, your fire and your ice skills will fall down in comparison. Not only just your wizard, but compared to, let's say, barbarian, upheaval skill and the barbarian was actually really strong. And in coming to your necromancer, you guys might have heard that the corpse explosion is way too overpowered. So this was one thing I had an issue in this game because I feel like the game will be more fun if the skills are more balanced. For example, you can try a variety of different builds and more or less the builds are going to be on the same level. But I think I can't judge this too much because this was still the start of the game and this is not at the end game. So at the end game they might fix these issues. So I'm just hoping that they fix these issues. But for the early part of the game, it felt a little bit off. Now, coming to some more in-game issues, one of the issues which I had was server disconnections. Right, so I got disconnected quite a lot of times while I was playing the game, and I had to wait in a queue until I got back into the game. So this was mainly due to a lot of people playing the game since it's a beta and all, and it was open access for everybody. But still, I didn't mind getting disconnected, but the fact that I had to wait for like long queues which spanned over 30 to 40 minutes were actually really bad. The other issue I had with this game was not being able to skip the cutscenes nor being able to skip the dialogue in this game. So basically, the first playthrough I played as a wizard and I went through all the dialogues in the game and I enjoyed the first act of the game. So when I tried to try with different classes, since I have to go through the game again and again, I thought of skipping the dialogue rather than listening to it for over 1,000 times. So, but this I was unable to do this thing because again I don't know what this was. I think it was a bug because for some of the times I was able to skip the cutscenes and some other times there was no option to skip these cutscenes. Now, talking about the release date, the game is set to release on the 6th of June of 2023, which is around 3 months from the time this video is being uploaded. So if you ask about my opinion, I think the game must be delayed for say a couple more months in order to address and fix most of these issues. But I do not think that Blizzard will personally postpone the release date because they have officially confirmed this one. But again, I do not want a game which is having a lot of bugs right during the start of the game, because this will be the same case as in games like Cyberpunk decline in popularity due to having a lot of bugs at the start of the game. So I want them to take their time, address most of the issues, and give the game to us in like say July or August, I would say. Other things in game I want to touch on was the world events and some general events which are happening across the world. I personally feel that these events were actually really fun. I know some people thinks that these events are repetitive and they're the same thing over and again, but I personally think that these are fun and they do reward you with a lot of good items. For example, each event you finish will give you some replenishment chest which will contain a lot of items. I personally have gotten some great legendaries from this events. So I personally enjoyed these events. And also other events like the World Boss event where you need to team up with other players to take down a Shava in like 15 minutes. That it was a really fun event, but the only issues I had with this event was underleveled players trying to come and participate in the event and taking up the spots of other players who might be able to help you take down the world boss. Also, in hardcore, since you are unable to revive your teammates once you are dead completely. So, in hardcore, I personally felt that since I played hardcore, it was really tough to take down the boss. I was only able to take down the boss twice, and one was with the necromancer, and the other one was with the wizard, because those two are like the top classes right now. And with all the other classes I played, I had to lose my characters to this boss because it's just too hard, right? And the AOE of this thing is really bad. Now, finally, coming to my verdict on this game, I personally felt that it was a really fun game to play. I enjoyed playing a lot of different classes. I've experimented with a lot of different builds, a lot of different skills. I used a lot of legendaries. I basically cleared most of the dungeons out, and I played a lot of this beta. So, from all my hours into this game, I felt that the game was really fun. The only issue with this game is the minor bugs, which I think will be addressed before the launch of the game. I'm hoping that they will be addressed, but if they are not able to address these issues, I hope they delay the game, let's say a couple more months, as I said earlier, and give us a proper great game. But I can't say much about the game since I have not yet played the end game, because I personally think in these types of games the end game matters more, because that is the point in time people people keep coming back to, right? So if you have a proper end game, then the game is fine. So I wanted a beta where they actually showcase the end game, but unfortunately they didn't. But apart from all of that, the start of the game in this beta was really fun, and I would rate it a solid 8 out of 10. So if you guys like this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to my channel for more such awesome content on video games.